You know, I can't get enough of the Ark experience. Ark Encounter, whatever the hell they call it. Anyway, we have a video from Answers in Genesis where Tim Chaffey wants to talk to us about why the Ark matters, and I'm going to go ahead and get that started.
Why do we spend so much time talking about the Ark and about the flood and about Noah? Why is that a big deal? You know, people say, well, you should just be preaching about Jesus. Well, I agree that we should be preaching the gospel message of Jesus Christ, and that's the most important thing we can be doing.
Really, that's the most important thing you can be doing. You are a grown adult who likes to talk to kids and people in an audience about a fairy tale that never happened, and if it did, it was more of a regional flood. And yet you guys tend to focus on this Ark thing entirely all too much without even talking about your Jesus, your God, your Christ. You're talking about like one of the earliest fucking books of the Bible. I mean, your Answers in Genesis, I understand that. But that's really what you're going to hang your hat on? If you don't have it right from chapter 1, verse 1, you don't have it right throughout the whole thing? Even Christians don't like your guys' organization, and this is the kind of the reason why.
But a lot of times we also have to clear up those skeptical questions people have. Take a look at this. This is one of the reasons that it matters. These are very common online. Young people are seeing these cartoons that are made by skeptics, mocking the idea of the flood, mocking the biblical accounts in Genesis, particularly the flood account. Now, these are just two of the ones that I could show you.
Only two, because there are probably millions of comics out there, especially by atheist people, that make fun of this stupid fucking story, but yet, no, you're going to cite two of them, and I believe I cut you off mid-sentence there, and you're going to talk about how there's more that you can't show because they might be too offensive, and he picked two of the dumbest fucking cartoons I have ever seen. So what were you saying again?
The rest of them, there's hundreds of them, are extremely vulgar and vile, so I can't show them in this kind of a setting.
Oh, so that's why you picked the two shitty ones, because you couldn't possibly have anything with any fucking vulgarity coming into it, could you, you prick? Sorry, I really just tripped on my words there trying to find a mean word to call him, and I went with prick. Dickhole. Cum bucket. What else can I say? Shit tosser. Something like that.
And I wouldn't want to anyways in any setting. But they love to mock the idea of the flood. In fact, we had...
Because you have no fucking evidence of it. And yet you build this giant monolithic piece of shit structure in the middle of fucking Kentucky and claim that you're doing so well when we have numbers that say otherwise. And if you are still doing so goddamn well, you're underreporting your amount of tickets, and that means that the taxes aren't being collected on it. Therefore, you're bilking the county of the state that you're in out of duly, like, earned revenue from them being able to put you in their fucking city. So, really, we're stuck on the Ark not being, the flood being something we laugh at. Yeah, we laugh at it because it is preposterous for you to bring this up in any kind of setting.
Dozens and dozens of protesters who were atheist and agnostic there on opening day, July 7th, 2016.
Hey, I know some of those people that are there. Hey, wait, there's Eric Hovind. Let's see, he's on the very right. Adam Collins is right there in the fucking middle. He was a person I used to follow quite a bit on Facebook and YouTube, used to chat all the time. Haven't seen anything from him in a long time. Is that David Smalley on the very left with the dad cargo shorts? God, that's the kind of look I do in my off time too. God damn it, I need to stop wearing those. And Brian Fields, I think, is in there somewhere. I can't tell. I don't see him anywhere. I'm sure there's other Christians in the picture too, but there are some awesome people from the Tri-State Free Thinkers in there. I thought for sure Aaron Ra would be in there because I believe he was there during that whole protest, but just looking at the picture here, that I'm seeing up on the screen, that Ark already looks like it's been beat to shit in the background. And seriously, take a look at it. And to the very right, you'll also see the zipline tower that they build. That zipline rides cost anywhere from $45 to $100 and something, according to the Vice article that came out this week. That's ridiculous.
And they were holding up signs, protesting, and some of us went down there and got into some good conversations with them, and had an opportunity to witness some of them. And
it's not anything we haven't already heard, buddy. I mean, especially those people that are there in Kentucky in the Tri-State Freethinkers area. They've heard all this shit. What What really bugs me about being an atheist in this world, especially one that puts himself out there on YouTube all the time, is that there are so many Christians that think that we don't fucking know what the Bible says, that we don't know what the message that they're trying to give us is, that we haven't heard the good news that they like to give us. We fucking heard it. We've read it. We've lived it. Some of us really fucking tried to be Christians. Some of us just walked away from it because, like, it's such bullshit. How can people believe this? But no, go ahead and witness to us again. We really need you to tell us how Jesus Christ loves us and he wants us to live forever with him in the kingdom of heaven and blah, 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 blah. Nobody fucking cares, man. This is your only life. You better fucking use it.
I had the privilege of, at the end of their protest, taking 21 of them on a tour through the Ark on opening day. So for me, opening day became far better than I ever imagined it would be.
Your opening day of the Ark experience, or the Ark encounter, was the best because you got to have some atheists come on tour with you, and the whole way through they're poking and making fun at this thing. That's your idea of a good time? You are a fucking masochist.
Because I had an opportunity to answer a lot of their questions. We did a Q&A sessions on the top floor, and then I even got to share the gospel with them as well.
They don't need it. They don't want your gospel. They've heard it.
And I want you to take a look at their faces here. Notice they're not screaming and yelling at me, and I'm not doing that back. Why? Because we took the time to get to know them and treat them with gentleness and respect, and they listened. Because
we're fucking human beings just like you are. You pay us respect, we'll pay it back to you. However, somebody comes to me preaching the gospel and like, I need to witness to you about Jesus Christ, I'm going to tell you to go fuck yourself.
I'm not saying anybody fell on their knees and believed at that point. That's not my point here. But at least they listened. And they heard the answers. They heard the gospel. But see, what happens far too often is we tend to think of a lot of these people as being like the really staunch, devout atheists, like Richard Dawkins, the people who are really obnoxious and just hate God. It's better to call them misotheists than atheists. They are haters of God, not necessarily just not believers in God.
That's what the word atheist means. It means that you lack a belief in a God or gods. That's what Richard Dawkins is also. He doesn't hate God. He doesn't believe in your God. How can you hate something you don't fucking believe in?
And they tend to think of all Christians as being like Westboro Baptists, people who hold up the offensive signs at military funerals and everything.
No, we know a good chunk of them are you guys, the creationists, and we know a further chunk of them that probably would be actually atheists because they just have a stupid-ass hold on whatever kind of culture they were growing up in. They're the kind that go to church on Easter and Christmas only. They're not like you creationists out there where you indoctrinate your children from birth until they're joining Quiverful movement or becoming fundamental LDS people so they can marry 13 different wives. No, we know that not all Christians are like you guys. We have the ability to not paint with a fucking broad brush, and I can't believe I've had to use that stupid analogy twice in the same week. There are certain Christians that are all right. They're the ones that usually keep their religion to themselves and don't try to witness to people or try to get them to come to their side and love Jesus and drop to their knees and pray with you. It's not going to fucking happen, man.
And the truth is, it's not like that. We're not like that, and many times they're just more like your neighbor next door.
Because most of us are your fucking neighbor next door. Why is this such a shock to you and a surprise to all of you? The people that live next door to me, they don't know my religious beliefs. The ones to the left of me in my house that I'm in while I'm recording this, they're very fucking Mormon. But they know that I'm a good person, and that's all that matters. It doesn't matter if I go to their church, which is actually pretty rare with Utah Mormons, actually. There are times where you move into a neighborhood and you're kind of blackballed because they don't want anything to do with you because you're not part of their church. I mean, but it's not that I go out there with a t-shirt on that says, fuck you, and I'm an atheist. I mean, that's a pretty good shirt. We should probably make that one. But we're not weirdos. We're not crazy people. We're not obnoxious. I mean, at least not all of us are. We're your neighbor next door. We're all right to hang out with. You could probably come over and have a beer and talk about all sorts of shit with me. But the minute you start going into Christ and Jesus and conservative ideas, I'm going to have a fucking problem with you. Because that's not the world I want to give to my children. You want to drag it back to the time of the 1930s, 1950s, probably even as far back as the, like whenever the fuck Paul started writing letters to people, even though we don't know if that was actually him that wrote Saul. Paul? Saul. Fuck, your book sucks.
And we need to treat them with gentleness and respect and show them the love of Christ, and then we'll have an opportunity to share the gospel.
We don't want your gospel. We want to have a conversation with somebody that's not a fucking Christ robot.
So opening day was a great experience for me because I got to do that. And in fact, I mean this when I say it, I would do that every day of my life if I could.
When you're going to become an atheist, because we're going to start witnessing to you. We're going to show you how awesome it is to be beat over the head with religion or lack thereof every fucking day.
It was really pretty special.
Special like a bullet in the head. Jesus. Who the fuck would... Okay, I can't say who the fuck would want to go to the park because apparently we have a GoFundMe and we're trying to make it happen. Don't go put your money there. Then donate that shit to charity. Do not put it on our fucking GoFundMe.